Joint meeting of the Glendale City Council and the Glendale Redevelopment Agency. Can we have a roll call, please?
Council members Manukian.
Here.
Najarian. Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Mayor Friedman.
Here.
And roll call for the Glendale Redevelopment Agency.
Agency members Friedman.
Here.
Najarian. Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Chair Manukian.
Here.
Can we hear your report, please?
The agenda for the July 19, 2011 joint public meeting of the City Council and the Redevelopment Agency was posted on Thursday, July 14th on the bulletin board outside City Hall. Before you today is Directors of Community Development, Community Services, and Parks and the Libraries regarding development impact fee payment option. At 1A is a council motion directing staff to process statutory development agreements to allow developers to pay the development impact fee in full at plan check submission and forego the right to request a refund of fees for any reason through December 31, 2011.
Okay, who are we going to for a staff report? Mr. Lansapane.
Ms. Mayor, members of the City Council, Mr. Chairman, members of the Redevelopment Agency, in September of 2000, the City Council adopted impact fees for parks and libraries. It was a 3-year phased-in fee structure beginning at $3,500, going to $7,000 in 2010, and then to $10,500. In response to the economic downturn and at the request of some of the developers that were just on the verge, or believed were on the verge of building, they asked for that fee increase that would have taken place in 2010 to be extended, and the City Council did that. The initial fee of $3,500 is scheduled to go up to $7,000 January 1st, 2012. Fortunately, to date, nobody has been able to crack the financing markets and get a project underway. The market is improving to a point where we have 5 real projects that are in various stages of pre-development that could start construction either late this year or the beginning of next year. The developers claim in their pro formas that the margin is very thin, but that they do think they can secure the financing to make that happen. However, when they look at the increase of fee next year, that probably makes the project infeasible for them. So they've come to us and asked for some relief, either some relief or to be able to get their plans checked by the end of this year. That will probably be a tall order to fill and very difficult to do with 5 projects. As I said, the developers are asking for some relief, and in the past we have extended the fee. What staff is proposing this time is to allow the developers, if they're really serious about this, rather than have us extend our fee out, if they're serious, pay the fee in advance. Currently, our ordinance has half of the fee paid when they pull a permit and half when they complete it. So that could be a swing of maybe 2 years. Staff is proposing that you direct us to enter into development agreements with these developers that choose. They would be allowed to pay this year's fee before it increases at the time that they submit their plans for plan check. In exchange, they would agree to forego any refund if the project does not go forward. So it would be an immediate infusion of impact fees. We would be guaranteed those fees. Now, on the flip side, if the projects were to go forward, there's another $2.5 million that would be collected next year. Again, staff believes that there's some merit in allowing this process. The developers will move forward with their projects. It will give us an opportunity to manage the plan check rather than rushing 5 projects at the end of the year. So we are recommending approval of your direction for us to offer to the developers that choose a development agreement that would in effect freeze those fees this year's level. They would pay those before the end of the year, and they would forego any refund should the project ultimately not go forward. Staff from libraries and parks is here, as well as the city attorney and development services, community development that has been involved in this development of this policy for your consideration.
Mr. Manukian.
The current fee that would be collected is $1,272,000. Is that the one?
That's the first half of the current.
Have we collected that amount already?
If these projects were to go forward this year, yes, we would collect that amount.
And if they choose to pay early, it would be the 2.5 million
That is
that we would
correct.
receive?
That is correct.
Are those amounts, of those amounts, how much of it is, these I would assume are general fund monies?
They are to be used for capital improvements. And I believe in the library, they can use that to
Why are
replenish
they
books.
to be used for capital improvements?
Only for construction projects. They could not be used for operations.
Okay, because?
The nature of the law that allows us to implement this impact fee.
Okay.
Essentially, they were, Mr. Chair, they were adopted under the government code provisions, which allows us to charge impact fees for the purposes of capital improvements, and so they have to be restricted. They're put in a restricted account, only to be used for parks and libraries
Okay.
capital improvements.
So we would be receiving an additional 1.272 million for the capital improvement fund? That's where it would go?
It would go, well,
Yeah.
counting-wise, yes. The short answer is yes.
Okay.
Counting-wise, you put it in a special fund only to be used by those parks and libraries projects.
Okay.
If they so choose to pay the money. They may not.
Right.
We're hoping they do, I think.
Right.
That'd be an additional $2.5 million right now, this year, for the libraries.
Other comments?
I'll move the item if there are no comments.
Second.
Okay. Can we have a roll call for the agency? Sorry, for the council.
Council members
Council
Menuchyan,
motion, yes.
Najarian, Quintero,
Yes.
Weaver,
Aye.
Mayor Friedman.
Yes.
We'll move to adjourn for the city council.
Second.
The council is adjourned.
Move to join for the redevelopment.
Second.
We are adjourned for the redevelopment.